Lesson 1, setting up your broadcast. A lot of people like to start their stream off as cheap as they possibly can. Well, I don't think it's intelligent to completely stop what you're doing, stop school, stop your job, part-time, full-time, and just go into streaming. That's not very smart because you will not be partnered right away. You won't be making ad revenue, you won't be making subscription revenue. And when you're a very new streamer, accepting donations right away can also seem kind of like greedy, if you will. You're streaming essentially when you start to kind of build the following and just do it out of enjoyment, right? If you don't enjoy streaming, you're not gonna be a good streamer. That's pretty much rule number one. But what I always tell people, what I've told my brother, what I've told my girlfriend, what I tell everyone is to invest into your stream at the start, right? So you want to make sure you have the best equipment. It doesn't have to be the best of the best, but from my personal experience, I started out with, I was that person. I wanted to save money. I went with the least expensive webcam, with the least expensive microphone, and the least expensive capture card, and the least expensive computer, and all of these things. Essentially, I just had to upgrade at some point, right? It got to a point where people weren't happy with the quality, and every single viewer counts. You will lose viewers because they don't like the clarity of your webcam. Do you even want to stream with a webcam? If your microphone is choppy or if it sounds horrible, that could also drive one viewer away. And you build your following one viewer at a time. It takes 10 seconds for someone to come into a stream, hear the game sound and your microphone and everything, and judge the quality of the stream and leave. So you want to make sure that you start with the best of the best. For your webcams, there are the budget webcam, right, which is for a lower budget. Still a good webcam, but it's not the best. But it won't drive anyone away. It would probably be the Logitech 525, and then a mid-tier webcam is Logitech C15, and then the top tier, which is what I would recommend, is the Logitech C920. It's the 1080p best webcam. It has the best grip on the monitor or wherever you're going to mount it. Really reliable, really durable, and it has the best possible quality for your stream. If you're going to start streaming, there are different types of softwares that you can use. The one that I currently use, which is the one I recommend, it's free, and they just released a new platform / version of it called OBS Studio. It's free to download. It works with Mac and Windows XP, 32-bit, 64. It's got the whole 9 yards, man. It's got everything you need. And it's pretty easy to use. There's also plenty of YouTube tutorials to specifically work with that software. Some others that you might try are XSplit, there's Infiniscene, and the one that I started out with was Wirecast, which was some unbelievably ridiculous software that costs a lot of money. And I don't recommend that because I don't even think people use that anymore. My top 3 streaming software programs that I recommend highly for you guys who want to start streaming in this order are OBS, XSplit, and then Infiniscene. One of the first decisions you have to make when you start streaming is what website / platform are you going to be streaming on. There are multiple websites that you can start off on, and I think it's very important that you choose the right one. I'm personally going to recommend Twitch because I believe that is the best place for people to get their start. There are millions of users that log in every single day, and that's millions of people that could potentially go to your channel. Other recommendations in this order are YouTube, MLG.TV, and then Azubu. And there are hundreds of other streaming websites if you want to do your own research and start there. I know you might be thinking you might want to go to a newer streaming website because there won't be as many people streaming there, but that also means that there won't be a community there to actually watch you. And some of the tips that I will also give you guys further in this video along the way will help you get your feet off the ground on Twitch.tv despite it being very saturated. If you're going to be starting up your stream, the next important thing that you need, besides a good webcam, is going to be your microphone. Now, this is very important because when I started streaming 5 years ago, I was using my headset microphone, which sounded absolutely horrible. I have videos on the internet, on YouTube, and on Twitter that have little clips of my very first streams, and sound quality was terrible, and on top of the video quality and the webcam quality, all of them were trash. I have no idea how. I'm pretty sure there wasn't even top tier webcams and microphones at that time for streaming, but I pretty much had to deal with it. But now there are very good microphones out there for you guys. There are 2 styles. One requires a boom arm, which you just attach to your table, and then it sits right in front of you. And the other ones are standing mics. There are 3 microphones that I recommend for streamers. If you're looking for a very cost-effective mic, I recommend the Blue Snowball. If you're looking for a much higher-end microphone, you can go with the Blue Yeti, which is also a very, very good quality microphone. And then I use the Razer Siren. It is, I believe, the most expensive of the 3. And it is very big, but it gets the job done and it works very well. Step 2, what type of streamer do you want to be? If you're going to start streaming, you need to figure out very quickly what type of streamer do you want to be. There are entertainers, educators, cosplayers, role players. You can have a cooking stream. It's endless right now on Twitch. And just streaming in general, it's growing every day, and they're coming up with more channels and more sections for people. And you really want to establish and find out who you are as fast as possible, so that you can start catering to the types of viewers that you're going to be getting and building the type of community that you want. So you have to have something to offer your audience, right? You have to be the best at what you do. That's one thing. Like, there are esports streamers, there are people who just have tens of thousands of viewers, and just because they're the best at the game they play, and they don't even have a webcam or a microphone sometimes. They just stream their gameplay. There's plenty of League of Legends streamers that I know who are professional League of Legends players and streamers, and they don't even talk to their stream. They just stream their gameplay, and they're getting thousands of viewers. So it's important to figure out very quickly, like, what do you want to be? What do you have to offer to your audience? And what is your stream going to be? For some examples of games that you might want to play if you are a comedy streamer and you want to thrive off of the games you play, you could play games such as Grand Theft Auto, which is just, you're just driving around, running people over, breaking into cars. There are games that are going to amplify your gift, if you will, as a streamer. For example, for me, I am an incredibly competitive player, but I also can do impersonations and funny voices, and I can do so many different things. In Halo, the viewership and sub ratio isn't that great, so when I'm playing that game, I'm more focused and intense on the game, and I'm not really being an entertainer, right? I'm being a competitive player. I'm being an esport player, and that gets me some esport subscribers, and that gets me people who are super, competitive. But that can also turn off a lot of people. That can turn off people who aren't very try-hard. They just like casual gaming. I definitely think that casual gaming is the way to go if you're just a newer streamer. There are so many people on Twitch and in general that aren't the best at what they do and will never be the best at what they do, and they love being able to just watch a casual streamer who can have fun and not rage at the game that they're playing, which is what I do with every game that I play. Like, I find the competitive nature in that stuff. But if you are a competitive esports player, clearly you want to make sure that you're just playing competitive games. You want to cater to the audience that you're broadcasting to. It is very important, and I'm going to keep stressing this, guys, that you make sure you figure out very quickly what type of streamer you want to be and the audience that you want to appeal to. The reason I say that is because, you can scare off some people if you're a competitive player. You can scare off casual players. And if you're a casual player, you're not going to attract competitive players. It's just like that across the entire spectrum of streaming. A perfect example is, for me, I found myself in like a hybrid scenario. I am a competitive streamer, a competitive player. I won the last year's H1Z1 Invitational, and I am also competing on Halo, but I also can do funny voices. And when I'm streaming H1Z1 sometimes, or Dead by Daylight, or any of these new games that are coming out, my competitive nature isn't really like there as much as it is for Halo, so which is my main esport that I play in. I find that the best streamers right now are the ones who really just have one focus. You're either all in esports, all in education, all in comedy, all in role play, cosplay. You just do it all. And when I say cosplay, I know that there are some people that just stream themselves putting makeup on and cosplaying characters. And there are some people that role play and actually create their own character. A perfect example is Dr. Disrespect. I know him personally. His name is Guy, but he created a character for himself on stream and on YouTube and Twitter called Dr. Disrespect. He has glasses. He dresses up every day, every stream, and impersonates essentially the character that he created for his channel. Different voice, different look. And that is actually something that is completely untapped on Twitch, and is actually being more accepted as esports and streaming continues to grow. So might want to look into that. On top of finding out what type of streamer you want to be, it is very important that you find what game you want to stream. You could be a League of Legends streamer and only stream League of Legends. You can be an H1Z1 streamer only, a Halo streamer only, a Call of Duty, Destiny, the list goes on and on. There's an audience for every single game out there, no matter what the game is. There's an audience, there's a fan base. The question is do you want to put all your eggs in one basket? And it's the safest thing to do. I find that being a multi-streamer, multi-game streamer, if you are not already established, a perfect example is Tim the Tatman. He averages about 4,000, 5,000 viewers or more, no matter what game he plays. And when he plays like his best game or his most famous game that he got popular off of, like Call of Duty, but then he switched to Counter-Strike, he'll get 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, sometimes he'll have 15, 20,000. But once you're at that level, right, essentially, in my opinion, 2,000, 3,000 viewers or more concurrent on one game, you can start switching to other games and be a multi-game streamer. But the difficulty with that is sometimes if you're not established yet, you've built up an audience with just one game and it's not that big, it's like 100, 200 viewers. If you switch to another game, you're going to lose the audience. You're going to lose the people who are there not quite yet just for you, they're there for the game. And once you've built up a very big fan base who are interested in watching your streams and not just the game you're playing, then you can become, the next Lyric, the next Sodapoppin, those people who can stream whatever game they want and get tens of thousands of viewers. It's not easy. I mean, that's end game. That's end game. It's just super important, right? So figure it out early, preferably before streaming, That also kind of ties into what do you have to offer and what type of streamer do you want to be. If you're, the best Counter-Strike player, clearly you want to be a Counter-Strike streamer. Figure out what game you want to stream and figure out the type of streamer that you want to be. Step 3, your first stream. A lot of people think that your very first stream is going to be the most important stream. You have to have, a party ready, you just crazy, things planned out, giveaways, all that stuff. Well, it's not. It's not going to be that important. I started streaming and it took me months just to get, relevant viewers where I had like 10, 15 people just watching. There are definitely things that you can do that are going to help you that I'm going to teach you right now. The most important thing to do is to just start streaming. There are so many people that have a mental block on themselves where they just think like, oh, I won't be funny, or oh, I won't get viewers. You just have to get out there and do it, right? Like, you won't get any followers, you won't get anything whatsoever if you aren't there, if people can't find you. So you have to get yourself out there, and you have to just be there, be available for people to come to your stream. That is very important. So now that you've started streaming, you've gotten out there, you've had a couple of days where you've just been there, right? Make sure you guys are applying everything that I mentioned in lesson 1 to your very first stream, right? You have the Yeti or your microphone, whatever you chose, is working, the webcam is working, you have your OBS settings, XSplit settings, Infiniscene settings, everything is working as it should be. So there's nothing worse when you're streaming than someone coming in and saying your microphone's cutting out, or your webcam isn't working, your webcam's flickering, or just minute little things that can lose you a viewer. Like, those need to be fixed, those need to be ready. Your stream essentially has to be just like, not even perfect, but it just has to be working, right? Flawlessly. So kind of perfect. And my little tip, this is like the biggest thing that I tell people when you go into streams, a big streamer, and you ask, hey, I just started streaming, what are some tips? And there won't be any. Most streamers don't give anyone tips ever. But I always give people tips, and the number one tip that I always give people on your first stream or when you just start out streaming is to tell everyone you know to come into your stream. I'm talking about personal people, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your brothers, your sisters, your friends' friends. You need to be off the bottom of the barrel. You need to be off the hundreds and sometimes thousands of people that are resting on the 1 viewer list, and you have to just bump yourself up to even 10 viewers, 15 viewers, 20 viewers, and they don't even have to physically be there. Obviously, ideally, it would be great if they were typing in the chat and interacting, but you can't have best of both worlds. You can't bank on your pops coming into your stream and talking with your new viewers about the video game that you're playing. But it's important that your viewers are there and they actually have accounts logged in. Now, this isn't botting, because there is botting where it's illegal, they pay money and they get viewers, and those people will get banned. These are real people who are in your stream. Hopefully your friends and stuff like that are actually talking and interacting. There are people out there, I know people that have come into my stream and they're like, you weren't at the top of the list, and I scrolled down. I looked for someone who wasn't the number 1 streamer. I looked for the number 10 streamer, the 11th streamer. And that is one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you in starting out your stream. You need to build up 10, 15 people that can just be in there right away to get you off the bottom of the list. Because now, with how many people stream and how many popular streamers there aren't too many people who are looking for the next upcomer, right? The next up-and-comer, they're already happy, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't have anything to offer. You could be even better and funnier and smarter and, the best at that game that you're playing. And that is the very first step that you should take during your first stream. Lesson 4, consistency and schedule. I have been streaming on Twitch and Justin.tv for 5 years. And the number one piece of advice that I can give you guys on top of everything else that I've been giving you is consistency, and a schedule is the most important thing, hands down, to any streamer. There are people who want it more than you if they're going to stream longer or be more consistent than you. There are thousands of people, hundreds of people who are going to want to do what you do, who are doing what you do. And every day you miss, every hour you miss that you planned but weren't there is a viewer you miss, is a follower you miss. When you get partnered eventually, a sub that you miss. I mean, what I always tell people, all of the Halo pros, there are so many Halo professionals that are my friends, and to this day they don't stream. And some do, some don't. Some are stream for a day, and then they stream for a week, and they get good subs. They stream for a month, and then they stop, and they lose their following, and they lose their viewers. And I always tell them, every day that you do not stream, you are missing out on subscribers. You are missing out on followers. Like someone could, a big follower / donator / viewer, just fan, could stumble upon your stream and you decided to just not stream, even though you're playing, it takes discipline. You have to be disciplined. You have to be ready. It's not easy. It really isn't. You are your own boss when you stream. You set your schedule. You have to wake up. You have to be responsible. And I know a lot of people think that streaming, you just sit around, you play video games all day, man. Like, how hard can it be? You don't get fired, man, if you miss a day for streaming. Like, you don't get fired. You don't get a phone call. You don't get written up, right? There's no punishment. There's absolutely zero punishment. So it takes a lot of self-motivation. It takes a lot of self-discipline. You guys can't just start streaming, build up an audience, and then leave. Like, you just can't. It takes discipline, schedule, and consistency. So when you start streaming, find a schedule that works for you, right? Just like a TV show, streaming is kind of like a TV show, a much longer TV show, but there are streams who they have much shorter streams, like a 4-hour stream every day. And it's important that you are consistent and you are very vocal to your viewers and your audience, that you tell them when you're going to be live and when you're not going to be live. When you're starting out, I think the more you stream, the better. Definitely, you need as much exposure as possible. You need to make sure that you're streaming at good times for the people who live in America on top of European countries. What I always think of is, Europe is 6 hours ahead. Some are 7 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours. Usually it's just 6 hours ahead. That's what I think of. So make sure you have a morning stream and a night stream. The morning stream could be for people who are in America, who are, it's just early in the morning for them, but you're also hitting pretty much the rest of the world at their nighttime, their dinner, and when they're done with school and stuff like that. And then your night stream is going to be for the people who are in America, or wherever you are. Your night stream is going to be for the people who live in your area. And it's important to just know what you're doing, hit all that stuff, hit as many people as possible. You need to get as many viewers as possible to even build yourself up from nothing. So these are things you guys need to be taking into account. I mentioned a little bit earlier about obviously having that schedule, sticking to it is very important, but getting it out there is something that is also important. On your Twitch stream, there are little tablets, little spaces below the stream where you can post your schedule. So whenever someone's watching your stream, they can scroll down, boom, it's right there. They know exactly when you're going to be live: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It should be everywhere and as much as possible. If you have a Twitter, I recommend posting it there at the start of every week. I recommend getting a Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, you should. You have to be reaching out to your audience as much as possible. People have to be able to find you, and it is very important that you have essentially as many outlets as possible to get your schedule out there. The next step is just following through. People will realize that you mean business. I know so many people who start their stream, they're really good for a month and they just stop. You have to push through that, get over that hump, whatever it is the reason that you stop streaming. If you want to take it serious, you're bringing people into your stream, essentially into your life, and you can turn off a lot of people by just completely stopping and essentially shutting them out and just turning off your entertainment. Finally, the best comparison that I can give you guys is that all streaming and all streamers, you have to treat it like a small business. And you have to look at it like a small business. And I'm going to compare, you are the average streamer, and then I'm going to compare, the top streamers as like Lyric and Sodapoppin. I'm going to say the Starbucks of coffee organizations, or coffee companies, if you will. If you are a coffee stand, small business, right? Small business streamer. Your fans are gonna come to you for every day because they love your coffee. You know, they don't want to go to the big brand. They want your coffee because you have something special to offer, right? Or whether it be your personality, or maybe you have a really good recipe and you're secretly better than Starbucks, but you know, like you're not that known yet. You have something to offer. People want your coffee. They want your stream. You miss a day, a sick day, 2 sick days, 3 sick days. They're eventually going to either find another coffee stand, or they're just gonna go to the big dogs and they're gonna go straight to Starbucks and they're just gonna get their coffee there. And then when you come back, they might not notice you. Maybe you know, in reality, maybe they took a different path to work and now they don't even go by your coffee stand anymore. Maybe they just unfollowed your Twitch channel. It's pretty much the same concept. You need to be there. You need to be consistent. You are a small business. There are other people that they will go to, and you can't let that happen. So as a new streamer, you know, even for a year, you really need to put on the grind. I'm being serious. Like, stick to a schedule, minimal vacations, buy a laptop that you can stream off of as well. And if you're gonna go take, you know, Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, whatever, vacation, bring your laptop, cut your streaming hours to maybe 2 hours a day, but be there. Be there and don't miss a day. Lesson 5, interaction and interacting with your community. Your community and how you interact with them is how you're going to continue to build the relationships that you have built in the stream, during the stream, and outside of the stream. The bigger you get and you've made it essentially, people aren't going to, expect you to respond to every single tweet, every message, all of those things. Eventually, you should do your best to get to as many as you can. But when you are a new streamer and you are just starting out, it is super important to build these relationships with these new viewers because they're going to be the foundation of your stream. I have, a couple of viewers who are still in my stream. They're moderators. They've been there since the beginning, and it's incredible. It's an incredible feeling, right? You're building up something with these people that you're meeting in your stream, and you need to continue to build. Like, you have to be above and beyond the people who are already bigger than you, right? So when someone responds, first of all, obviously make sure you have a Twitter, try to get a Facebook fan page, have these things set up in place, and then interact, right? You want to promote on your stream that you have those avenues of communicating with you. And then you need to obviously be open to communicating with these people once you've finished your stream. Reply to pretty much every single person that tweets at you. It could be the reason they follow your stream. It could be the reason they unfollow your stream if you don't. Especially when there are a lot of viewers who are entitled. They'll be thinking essentially what I'm teaching you right now, what I'm telling you right now, which is if you aren't that big of a streamer, they really will expect you to reply to them because, what else are you doing? Like, streaming does not stop once you stop streaming, especially when you're new. You have to grind. So make sure that your interaction with your fans outside of streaming is just as good as it is while you are streaming. And speaking of while you are streaming, chat interaction is probably the most important thing that you can do as a new streamer. You cannot grow if you do not talk to your chat. If you are brand new, like 5 viewers, and you aren't reading the chat or you aren't responding to people answering their questions and obviously being genuine, outside of your social media interaction, your chat interaction is going to be the most single-handedly important aspect of your stream in terms of interacting. It is live communication, live question answering. People have questions. That's just what streaming is. What mouse do you use? What keyboard do you use? Why do you use this gun? Why do you use this setup? Why do you use this build? It's non-stop questions. You have to be ready and prepared to answer all of those questions. Something that I struggle with to this day is when someone asks me a question, hey Ninja, when are you scrimming? Halo. I'll answer that question. And then 2 minutes later, I get another question. Hey Ninja, when are you scrimming? And I have to answer that question sometimes 15 times a day. Honestly, probably 100 times. You just have to understand that you're getting viewers. You're constantly cycling out. Even as a newer streamer, especially when you're a bigger streamer, you're constantly cycling out viewers. 100 in, 100 out, 100 in, 100 out. So you're getting these new people who come in, ask you a question, and they might not, even if it's a second later, they might not have heard it. They might not have, even if you answered it in the chat. Be calm, talk with your chat, answer the questions, don't get frustrated. And the way you interact with them in the chat as well is also very important. Always try to be positive, like I just said, don't get frustrated, but use their username, right? You have to create that connection with this viewer. As a newer streamer, you need a connection, right? They have to feel like they want to come back to your stream. They have to feel wanted. If you go back to one of the earlier lessons that I explained, you want to try to get as many people in your stream that as possible so that you can build yourself up off that list. And once you have those 10, 15, 20 viewers in your stream, you can start kind of going through the viewer list as a streamer and look for people who might not be interacting in the chat and actually just welcome them to the stream. If you have one viewer only and someone comes into your stream and now you have 2 viewers, if you just talk to that one person and do what I just told you to communicate with that person, find their username and say hello, that can be very intimidating if you don't have an active, small community going on in your chat at that time. There are a couple of different types of ways to interact with your chat when you're a new viewer that can boost chat activity and interaction in your stream. Like I was saying earlier, you want to make sure you're responding to every single question as a new streamer. You can't afford to miss someone. Even as a streamer that gets hundreds of viewers, thousands of viewers who are asking questions every day, sometimes I miss one and then I just miss it. And then the next line I see from that username is, I'm out, I'm leaving. Like, you didn't answer my question, whatever. So just imagine that amplified times 10 when you don't even have those viewers. So make sure you're taking advantage of every single person who asks a question. That is very good as a new streamer. Use those questions to bring out your personality, bring out, what you want your stream to be, right? And obviously what you have to offer your stream. Another thing that you can do once you get more viewers is start going into the chat. Like literally there's a viewer list, alphabetical. You can see people who are watching your stream who are logged into Twitch but not chatting in your chat. They're not being active. I mean, what I used to do when I was in Halo Reach, I would just pull up my list and I would just read off usernames and I would say, thank you for watching, man. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Some people might get scared and some people might love it. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, what's up? That is so cool that you just talked to me and I wasn't even, saying anything. But you might scare some people off just because, it's usually on the lower end side. If you have 2, 3, 4 viewers and you are being super, super like, hey man, welcome to the stream, oh my God. I mean, just imagine the reference. You're going to a restaurant and there's some brand new restaurant and it's a guy who just built it, right? He's the only person there, let's just say, and you walk in. I mean, hey, welcome to my restaurant. Oh my, what would you like? Oh my God, sit down here, please, use this. Like, it could be overwhelming and it could just be a huge turnoff. So I don't recommend doing that, interacting that way with your chat. Until you kind of hit 50 viewers, 40 viewers, maybe even 30 or more, because once there's chat interaction with other viewers, then they can type in the chat and that can be much more relaxing for that viewer and not as pressure, right? There's not as much pressure on that viewer to be like, oh my God, I'm the only person here and I have to talk with the streamer. That can be honestly a lot to handle for a viewer. There are multiple ways of interacting in social media with your stream and your viewers. One is Twitter that I talked about earlier. Another, this is just a small thing. There's many others. There's Snapchat, there's Discord, and these things, there are ways that you can, talk with your viewers off stream. Snapchat you can give to your followers. If you become partnered, it can be an incentive to subscribe to your stream. where your subscribers get your Snapchat, and you just send personal Snapchats to your viewers. They can kind of see, a little inside info into your life. All of these things will continue to further create a bond with your viewers, and that is clearly what you want. The more connected, especially early on, the more connected you can make a viewer, the better it is for you as a streamer, because you'll maintain a long-time viewer, which you need to build those up all the way until you become a relevant partner streamer. And last but not least, on viewer interaction, sometimes once you kind of hit 100 viewers, 200 viewers, this is something that my girlfriend does, and this is something that I still sometimes do, even with a couple thousand viewers, is you just say, where are my lurkers at? You just ask. This is where you don't read off the viewer name. You just straight up try to create chat interaction with people who never talk. This is, a couple months down the line. People, you have the community, you have a group set of people, moderators, supporters. You're gaining that audience, and you just go, who's in my chat right now who's not talking? Where are my lurkers at? And you'll see just like 10, depending on how many viewers you have who aren't talking, just people who are like me, and just saying that can create a subscriber, a donator, a follower, and a fan and supporter for the rest of your stream. And don't do that every day, because then it just kind of becomes something that isn't, natural, right? You don't want to force things on your chat ever. The more comfortable your stream is, the more likely they're going to come back. You don't want to scare people off. I hope these tips helped you guys with your chat interaction and just interacting with your community in general. Lesson 6, growth. If you followed the steps and the lessons listed earlier, your growth to your channel and your community will be inevitable, which means that you guys need to be prepared to handle that growth. And there are many different ways that you guys need to be ready. Your questions in the chat interactivity is going to be more. It's going to be more demanding. People are going to want not necessarily better streams, but different types of streams sometimes. They're going to want more out of you, and you need to be prepared to handle that. One big tip that I can give you guys is absence makes the heart grow fonder. That is a saying for a reason. If you guys are there too much, if you stream too much, you're there 16, 17, 18 hours a day, you'll notice, once you get partnered and all of these things, you'll notice that your subscribers won't necessarily be as high if you are there all the time. It's kind of like, you just don't realize what you have till it's gone. If someone's there all the time, streaming all the time, you're there, streaming 16 hours a day, people are gonna come into your stream and they're, I don't need to subscribe today, I can subscribe in an hour, or in 2 hours, or in 3 hours, or in 2 weeks, he'll always be here, he'll be there. And once you kind of establish that schedule that we talked about earlier and you stick to it, maybe you make it a little bit longer once you get bigger, because now it's a full-time job, right? You're maybe migrating out of your school. If you're making enough money, you're gonna migrate out of your part-time, full-time job and start taking streaming to be your full-time job. That is when you can up your hours for streaming, but not make it an insane amount. You still need to be able to balance your stream life / work life with real life, family, friends, just fun activities outside of streaming. And that balance is very important. And the balance is actually also another way that you can kind of interact with your viewers. When you're out going to see a movie, out to dinner with your girlfriend or your friends, These are things that you can tweet, Snapchat, and also continue to make your stream and your community feel involved, which is important. And it's even more important to want to do this, not to just do it to go through the motions. Like, I absolutely love my community. I love all of my subs. Some of them are my friends, like actual friends, like we talk outside of the stream. And honestly, that's how it should be. Like, you need to make those connections. You're making these connections every single day with these viewers, and as you grow, you'll make more and more. It's just important to, I guess, not be fake, and it should be easy because you should just want to do it. You should love to do it. As you continue to grow, you'll be approached with deals, opportunities, sponsors and things like that. And it usually happens, in a specific order. Like, usually you get partnered, because partnership requires 100, 250 viewers concurrently, and then once you get partnered, then you get subs, and once you start gaining subscribers, then you can kind of start building more of your community even more, right? Like, you have to call your community something. For me, my community is called the Ninjas. My brother, who streamed his community, he streamed Pokemon. His was called the Squirtle Squad. It's something that can grow your brand even more and your community even more, and that's also going to potentially push the type of sponsors that you get, or even you might even approach you. But it's important that you do it very carefully. If you aren't partnered yet, and someone comes to you and you have 50 to 100 viewers, and you're not even a partnered streamer on Twitch, you have to be careful, because there's a meme on Twitch and streaming in general. It's called selling out. Like, whenever someone like Nightblue got sponsored by G Fuel recently, and he was advertising it, and every time he promotes it a little bit, his entire chat is like, sell out, sell out, sell out, sell out. And he can afford to do it because he's made it, so it doesn't matter. But if you're super new, and you have 50, 100 viewers, and your buddy comes up to you maybe, and he thinks that he can use you as an outlet for his company or whatever, like, don't do it. You don't want to take any sponsorships whatsoever until you're partnered, established, and streaming is natural to you, because nothing is more unnatural than when you're still learning to stream and you're promoting something that you might not even like. So I recommend chilling on that stuff. I mean, unless someone's offering you thousands upon thousands of dollars and you want to use that to reinvest into your stream, which is what I always recommend. You want to reinvest the money that you're making early on in your stream right back into your stream, in terms of donations, which is pretty much the only way you can make money if you're not a partnered streamer. And I also recommend, even when you're doing that, kind of hold off on putting a PayPal button or a donate or a stream tip or whatever. When you're just starting off streaming, like I said earlier in my lessons, you want to not quit your job. Have other income, because you shouldn't really be streaming for money at this point. You're streaming because you like it. You're streaming because you want to become a full-time streamer. But there's nothing sounds greedier than someone who just I quit my job and I want a full-time stream. Boom, here's a donation page. Make it happen. Help me out. Make people want to crave your stream. They want to support you, but you're not going to give them that ability yet until you've proven that you actually want this. It just seems greedy when people have these donation buttons super early on in their stream, when they're not even really a streamer yet. You want to stream for people, not for money off the start. You have something to offer and you want to share it. You have a gift, you want to share it with these people, and you have fun playing video games, and then you use that to build your community. And then once you have that community established, you have people who want to donate money, like, dude, I love your stream, I watch you every day, like, I want to give back. Boom. Like, there's a time and a place. You'll know. You know what I mean? Like, you'll know. And you won't know when one person is saying, I want to do it, when just a bunch of people are trying. You've built that community, even if it's small, and they want to support you. And then you want to take that money, you reinvest it back into your stream to push and further the growth of your stream. Like I said, I personally recommend purchasing the best of the best equipment when you start streaming, so that you don't have to continue to make purchases and upgrade your equipment. However, there are people who don't have that budget. They don't have enough money. So I recommended earlier things that you can purchase that are pretty good quality, but not top notch. And once you've reinvested the money from donations and subscribers and stuff like that, that can go right back into the best quality microphone, the best quality headset, the best quality webcam, maybe an upgrade on your computer so that you have a faster, even better looking stream. All those things will add to the growth of your stream and will also show and prove to your stream and your viewers and your community that you're not just in this for the money. You're constantly upgrading, you're constantly looking for new ways, new alerts, new emotes, paying designers to make sure that your channel is fresh and your art is fresh. That stuff, people look at it, they love it, and they notice it. So it's very important to make sure that you are doing that. Lesson number 7, gimmicks. There are a bunch of things that you can do for your stream that will grow your stream and your community and build a bigger and better brand for yourself. And we'll start with the simple stuff, which you do not need to be partnered for. And those would be alerts for your stream. There are multiple types of alerts that you can use for your stream. There are plenty of websites now. There's Twitch alerts, there's Subperks, there's Muxy.io. The list goes on and on. And it's important that you pick a company and or website that you're comfortable with, you find it's easy to navigate and also easy to maintain. Some are actually really difficult and they require a lot of knowledge of the website and can be not very friendly to new streamers. I would recommend personally something that's free to use, which is Twitch alerts, and they actually have a lot of following alerts, donation alerts. If you're a new partner, there's subscriber alerts that are already built into their website. You don't have to have a designer or anything like that. You just click the alert that you want and it pops up on your stream. It's pretty simple, very easy, and pretty perfect. However, if you are going to be a good streamer, which is what that's the whole point of this, this entire video, is for you guys to be the best of the best, the good streamers. You want to put in the time to have relevant alerts, everything that kind of coordinates with you, who you are, your brand, etc. For me right now, I have all of my subscriber emotes, my badge, everything is related to my brand, a Ninja. I'm a professional Halo player and I competed in some H1Z1 tournaments, so my resub sound and my sub sound have something to do with EDM and gunshots, which it's not just bullets or anything like that just going off, but something that sounds like a gunshot in a game. And it all relates and makes sense to my brand and my stream. So if you're Princess Kitty 9000, maybe every single one of your emotes or your alerts has a cat meowing or something like that, and a princess petting the cat, and every time someone follows, that's the alert that goes off. That's kind of a very, very, very stereotypical but general concept of what your alerts should be like. If you are a new partner, your subscriber alert needs to make, the subscriber is going to want to sub to your channel because he wants to support you. But there's nothing greater than building, Twitch is its own entity. And sometimes you can have a sub train and people who don't even like you, who are just watching you because maybe they like what you do and they like the game that you're playing, but they don't actually like you. There are haters in everyone's stream. Hype is something that is contagious, and especially when it's pure and not faked. And if you have a really, really, really good sub alert with a great song or noise and a clip added to it, and the same thing with your resub alert, you can create sub trains, resub trains, donation trains, follow trains. It can go on and on and on. So it is important to make sure that once again your sub alert and your resub alert are coordinated with your brand. They need to be all kind of tied together. I'm gonna go back to Princess Kitty. If my name is Princess Kitty 9000, I don't want my sub alert to be like some gory zombie. You know, it needs to be relevant, and that's important. So make sure that you guys are tying everything together and it's all nice and smooth and connected. Your alerts with your emotes as well. With your sub emotes, your subscriber alerts, resub alerts, follow alerts, all that stuff, even with just your follow alerts, the second you create a stream, from the very beginning, you should try to come up with a name for your community. For me, once again, mine is the Ninjas. Whenever someone subscribes to my stream, I said, thank you for subscribing, welcome, thank you for supporting the stream, and like, welcome to the Ninjas. Like, you are now a ninja. Right? That's how the person should feel when they are subbed to your channel. There's another streamer, his name is Grims. He streams H1Z1 and some other games. He calls his stream, you know, whenever anyone subs, the Grim Battalion. Tim the Tatman calls his like the Tatman Army, or just, you know, welcome to the army. Everyone has a name, right, for their community. Come up with one, make it unique, and that's very important. Unity is a very powerful thing for streaming, so make sure you pick a good name. If you're already a partnered streamer watching this, you know, and you're new, this is just a little tip for emotes. Your emoticons, the more subs you have, the more emotes you have for your stream. They should definitely be in direct correlation and connected to your sub alerts and your community and the name of your community. So for me, mine's the Ninjas. Pretty much everything is related to a ninja. Give or take a couple of inside jokes with my stream and some other just faces of like some of my family members. If I have a sad emote, it's a sad ninja. It's not me sad, you know, and that's another thing that you want to decide. You know, do you want yourself to be the image of your emotes, or the person who you're trying to be, your character, if you will? We're gonna go right back to Princess Kitty, right? It's probably not gonna be the actual physical streamer of her emotes or his emotes. It would be maybe, you know, a Princess Kitty, a sad Princess Kitty, happy. That is the generalization of emotes being connected with the channel name and your brand. You don't want, you know, I'm not Ninja and all my emotes are dogs, right? I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense. So the more your stream makes sense, the better, and more viewers and more subscribers, more than likely, you will get. I'd like to talk to you guys about giveaways for your streams. Giveaways are a double-edged sword. They bring in the wrong types of people for your stream. If you are going to be a giveaway streamer, you're going to pull in non-supporters, people who are in there just for the materialistic items that you are giving away, whether it be a physical Xbox, a physical graphics card, PC, or in-game items like a Steam gift card, or, you know, Counter-Strike skins, whatever the case may be. You don't want those types of people in your stream right away. So hold off on the giveaways. If you are gonna do them, you know, bi-weekly, end of every, you know, second Friday of the month is a giveaway. That will pull in and maybe excite your viewers and not pull in, you know, random people who are coming in every day who don't like your stream, who don't like you whatsoever, but they're there just for the giveaway. Be careful with what you're giving away, how much you're giving away, and the reputation that you're building for your stream, especially when you're starting off. Last but not least, actual gimmicks. If you guys are getting bored with streaming, you know, if you're above age, 21 years older, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little, you know, Friday night, you know, wine and dine stream, you know, having some, you know, brews and booze where you're, you know, you're playing scary games with beers. It doesn't have to be all alcoholic at all. It can be funny voices. My very first stream, I did my first gimmick. I think it was a couple months in. You know, I told my stream, all my viewers right at the end, I was like, guys, I got something special for you tomorrow. Be sure to tune in. And then I walked on stream the next day with a cow hat on. And it was just like a little cow hat. It was like a physical like cow was on my head with a bell and everything. It was adorable. It was hilarious. You know, and I was doing funny voices with it. And people just absolutely loved it, and it became a part of the stream. In fact, hats became a part of my stream for a very long time. You know, I had a Bulls hat, a Chicago Cubs hat, you know, a Jester hat, all these hats, you know, and everyone was just, they loved it, right? They just ate it up. I was enjoying it, you know what I mean? Like doing the voices of, you know, whatever I was wearing, or things like that. You know, you can, you know, abuse the time of the month, right? If you're doing fall streams, you know, Christmas streams or holiday streams, whatever the case may be. You know, feel free to, you know, use overlays with, you know, holiday themes. If you're, you know, do a scary Fright Fest October, you know, month marathon where you do scary games for a month of October. The holidays in December, you do, maybe you have like snow in your overlay. Anything themed streams are great. It's fresh, it's new. Your viewers will love it. Your subscribers will love it. And it's important to constantly be thinking about things like this as your stream grows and as you want to provide more and more new content and new excitement to your channel. Lesson 8, opportunities and sponsors. As your stream gets bigger and bigger, you will be presented with opportunities, sponsors, and you'll be approached by many different companies and different people, including if you are even a brand new streamer with 40, 50, 60 viewers. People will start to use you or look at you as just an opportunity. That's a great thing and a very bad thing. You're going to have to fish out good sponsors and bad sponsors, good opportunities, bad opportunities, things that will be negative publicity for you and things that will be good for you. It's important that, like I mentioned earlier in the previous lesson, that you don't take on too many opportunities too early with friends or even with new companies who can't quite afford the big streamers and they're kind of trying to look to get into the space and they might want to use you. It's not very good. If you are still building your community, you're still fresh, you're still coming up, you don't want to force products onto your viewers, because you're already in a way you're forcing yourself already. They're getting used to you and they're still getting used to your stream, even if it's been a couple months, like they're still learning about you and the games that you're playing and how you're going to continue to grow as a streamer, and they're not looking 1 month, 2 months into your streaming career to come try this new energy drink that I'm drinking, guys, it's super good, and you sign this deal with this company for like $100 a month, or sometimes not even $100 a month. You do a percentage deal where you get 5% off or 5% of every purchase, and that's like the discounted of price. It's not good, and you don't want to do that. As you are established as a streamer, you're established with your community, your subscribers, your viewers, then you can start to look out and try to get those other resources to make streaming a full-time job. As you are starting out, you shouldn't be you won't be making sub money. You shouldn't be receiving donations super early on. You should still be, going to school if you're in school and working if you have a job, and streaming part-time until that can become something you can see it becoming a reality and being that full-time job. Then once you have been partnered, you're established, boom, you move into sponsors, you move into stuff like that. Once you are approached, which usually you will be approached, and you can obviously do the approaching and stuff like that we can address later. But definitely start small. Don't jump right in and get all excited because someone approached you. Keep calm and be simple. Okay, you're growing your brand, you're growing your stream. You're not trying to make a bunch of money right away, because if you do try to sell out too soon, people will notice, and it'll be too late for your channel if you take on too much and sign things you shouldn't. In one of my previous lessons, lesson 2, I talk about identifying who you are as a streamer, finding out what type of streamer you want to be. That also kind of means like a console streamer, or like a PS4, Xbox One, or a PC streamer. And that also directly affects your sponsors. I stream everything. So I used to play PS4, but now I'm doing Xbox One and PC games. So I'm using mouse, keyboard, headset, microphone, webcam for streaming purposes, controller for Xbox One. So I have all these peripherals that I use, and that allows me to essentially have a very broad spectrum of sponsors that I could choose and pick from if I wanted to. But you want to pick relevant sponsors, and most importantly, pick sponsors that you like. Okay, if you don't use a Razer headset, or you don't use a Razer keyboard or a Razer mouse, don't reach out to them and ask for a sponsor or ask for free product and a sponsorship because you like how green they look. Like, the best thing is it's all natural. It should be natural. Pick natural sponsors, approach companies that you love. If you're a fitness freak and you want a protein sponsor or something, reach out to C4 because you use C4 and, make that connection, make that pitch to them. Tell them your numbers, tell them how much your concurrent viewers are, tell them how much your subscribers are, how many total viewers you get in a day, how many unique hits on your stream. All these things will correlate to them as just numbers, right? They're gonna look at them and they're gonna be like, okay, they can do the math, beep, bop, boop, and they can potentially pump out a salary, which is what you want. You do not want the worst types of deals are in this order: free product, then you go commission off of sales, and then you have the top of the notch, which is salary. Salary is really all you want to go for. You need to understand your worth as a streamer. And this is definitely more toward, the end of the road streaming a little bit. You have the sub button, you're a partnered streamer. People, you're making revenue, full-time job in an ideal scenario. That's when you start looking for stuff like this. And it's just important that you know your worth. Even the smallest amount of your worth. You don't have to settle for a commission sponsor. Those are the worst. When a company says that they don't have the money for you, that's not true. Okay, they have the budget, they have the money. Especially the bigger the company, the more they can afford to pay people who are going to be representing their product. And it's super important for you guys to, when you're coming to them or if they're coming to you, that, honestly, commission, it isn't even worth your time, especially free product. I mean, if you're in it for the free product and you don't care, then sure, go for it, have fun. But you're promoting their product for free, giving them potentially thousands of dollars for free that you should be getting paid consistently, concurrently, for an entire year or however long the contract needs to be. Like, the commissions thing is a joke because you might not be selling their product and giving them numbers, but that doesn't mean you aren't advertising their product, getting that name out and their brand out there to thousands of people every single day. I think I average 50,000 unique visitors a day to my channel, like minimum, and that is 50,000 people who are seeing the product that I'm using every single day, even for a second. And just because that's not directly going into sales doesn't mean that I just advertised, X product for 50,000 people. And that's every single day that I stream. And that's not counting Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook fan page, all of those things combined. You're worth so much more than just direct sales. So when you're reaching out to a sponsor or you're negotiating, don't rip them off and don't try to be greedy and go for, I'll take 2,000 a month, please. Start small, and if it goes well, if they feel like they're getting a good exchange or good deal with you, then you can always revisit the contract. You can put that into your contract. After 2 or 3 months, you can revisit and maybe up the salary, lower the salary. There's so many different things that you can do to approach and deal with sponsors. And I do highly urge you guys to once you get to that level to do stray away from the commissions and the free product. We can't be pushed around anymore. Streaming is becoming much bigger, and eventually we're going to need more and more managers and and agents, people that know and won't get pushed around and bossed around by these companies who are professional and their job is to essentially get people to sponsor for free who don't know their worth. Definitely focus on understanding your worth. At the very least, knowing, bar minimum, set a minimum for, what you want and what you expect out of that sponsor. When you talk about a sponsor or you're talking to sponsors, there are different types of ways that you can kind of sell yourself. Clearly, you can sell just, you know, a small little ad that pops up on the bottom right of your stream, and it's just constantly rotating. But the bigger that is on your stream, or, you know, the more panels you have underneath your Twitch channel or wherever you're streaming, you know, you have a little bio section. Like, the more that you give them, the more that you should be receiving out of that. And also make sure that, you know, you're negotiating that with these sponsors. You're not just getting pushed around, you know, giving them everything, right? If they come to you and then they're like, okay, well, we want, you know, maybe a gamer tag change or a name change, and, you know, a banner change, and you know, panel change, and also an ad revenue or ad running on your stream, you know, every once in a while. Like, all those things should mean higher salary or higher amounts of whatever the case may be. When a sponsor reaches out to you, which is always the greatest feeling, as a streamer myself, you know, I find myself doing a lot of reaching in the Halo community, and, you know, obviously it gets received very well, but there are going to be times where you are being reached out to, and that means that immediately the company reaching out to you, they want what you have. They want what you have to offer. They aren't just sending out 100 emails and they're just going to take whoever responds to them and says yes. They're reaching out to you with everything that they want, everything that they expect immediately, which means that, you know, if you say yes right away, I mean, you're not necessarily losing, especially if it's a good deal, but you are basically, like, you're giving them everything that they want. And if it's not like what you're okay with, then you should make sure immediately that you renegotiate the terms and say, I would be okay with that. Sure, I would be okay with an ad on the stream or a panel, but I'm uncomfortable with a YouTube video every week or a YouTube video every month, or whatever the terms are. They're always negotiable, always. I can give you a perfect example is Summit. Summit is one of the only streamers that I know who has multiple peripheral sponsors. For example, I believe he has like a Corsair keyboard sponsor. I think he has his own mouse sponsor, which is Razer, and I think he also has Audio Technica, which is his headset. That is not of this world. You are with one or none, like if you're a normal dude. But Summit's the big dog. He's massive. He's one of the #1 streamers on Twitch TV. He is able to say, I love your headset. I will wear your headset on my stream. I will not play with your mouse. I will not play with your keyboard, but I will play with your headset. Vice versa. I will play with your mouse. I don't like your headset. I don't like your keyboard. And these companies are like, okay, it's worth it. It is worth that single sale, that single promotion that this person will give to that one peripheral than it is just slapping Razer or slapping Audio Technica or Sennheiser's all over his stream and his body. Right? He's getting the most out of each single company because he was able to 100% hardball these guys and say, this is all I like and this is all I want. And they're going to take it, you know, and obviously he's the #1 dog. He's the cream of the crop. So they're going to give it to him. But I guarantee you they probably came up to him first and they offered him everything. And he said no. He countered, and that's what you guys have to be very comfortable with doing. And you're not insulting. It's not an insult. It is just 100% business. No one will be insulted if you respond to them and you don't like their agreement. You don't like their terms right away. It's totally natural and it's totally normal. It's just business in general. And, you know, you just wait and work it out until everything is perfect for both parties. Above all, when it comes to sponsorships, make sure that you are very comfortable with negotiating and definitely know your worth. I hope you guys took something away from all these lessons and really use these towards the future of your streams and your communities that you guys are going to start building. If you really do follow these step by step, lesson by lesson, I promise you'll see success. I promise you guys will see growth in your channel. It might take, a couple weeks, a couple months, but in time, if you do follow these and you grind and you're dedicated, you will see growth and success in your stream.
So our first lesson will be developing your brand and your stream personality. First thing, first thing that I need to say is if you're gonna start streaming or creating content, you should never plan and expect it to become a full-time career. It happens for some people, it doesn't happen for everybody. It takes hard work, it takes right circumstances, and sometimes it takes good luck. But you should always keep in mind, even if you're doing this just for fun, that it could become a career, and so you're gonna wanna make a name that's brand safe. You're gonna wanna make a name that's easy to say, easy to remember, easy to spell. I'm not a great example with the zombie unicorn without the E. That's something that's always kind of plagued me. But my excuse is that I am Latina, so it's the Spanish spelling. That's how I get away with it. But some people come up with these names that are long phrases, and they sound funny and they're great, but it's hard to put on a t-shirt or it's hard to make a Twitter handle for. So that's something you need to keep in mind. It's something you need to keep in mind when you're creating your brand, your name, your channel name, your personality. Some people want to come up with a personality that is something that is not themselves. You have characters like Dr. Disrespect. You've got Benny Fitz, who's a Muppet. You have there's a dog. There's a face rig dog character. There is God, there's so many other examples out there. Somebody who acts like a pirate. There's someone who acts like this. There's Future Man. There's all these characters. So you need to decide, do you want to do this crazy character or do you want to just be more of yourself? The crazy characters are hilarious, they're fun, and they're unique. They can be, but you're going to have to keep that up the entirety of your streaming or your content creation. Now, some of them do start like that and they end up being more of just themselves. Future Man was one of them. He started off with his character, and now he still does his character, but he still is also himself. So that's something to keep in mind as well. There's some things that you can use to describe your channel or your name that they may hit home for you, but it may not be exactly brand safe. So for example, a friend of mine, Dylan, he used to go by 8-Bit Homo, and he's a big name in the LGBT community in gaming, and he changed his name recently to 8-Bit Dylan instead because it's a little more brand safe. I feel like that's a little easier to market. It's just an example of something that may reach out to you and describe you specifically. However, it's not exactly good for, like, maybe one day you want to be sponsored by Pepsi or Starbucks or Coca-Cola or something like that. They're going to want to work with you more if you have a name that's brand safe.